show. Before I get into this video, I want to let everyone know I have a video up on my website about Bill and about his new thing he's forming called Germ. And it has everything to do with what's going to occur next. And of course, he's out there in the media saying he hates to be the bearer of bad news, but it ain't over yet. And you know what I'm referring to. And the reason, of course, I know some of you say, well, Cole, I don't want to join the website. I like it here on YouTube. Well, I'm still here on YouTube. I'm being very fair about it, fighting as hard as I can to stay on YouTube. But the reason that I have to go on a website is, and post all the type of content that I need to post and want to talk about, is because of things like what I'm about to show you. This was featured on 60 Minutes last night on the Beltane, of course, and that was bringing attention to something called Birds Aren't Real, which is really Operation Mockingbird on testosterone, estrogen, and about 75 pounds of cocaine. Because it is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. But of course, the mainstream media will bring attention to it because it's another way for them to project, deflect, and to go after conspiracy theorists. You know, there used to be a time period where conspiracy theorists, quote unquote, people like me and you, would attack one another here on YouTube and things like that. It's gotten so bad that the main focus of all of the attention of the mainstream media is actually on us, which tells you that what we're doing is actually telling truth. Because they're so scared of it, they have to bring attention to all the stuff that we talk about. So I'm going to get into this right now and show you a clip of what this thing is from 60 Minutes. But I have to say before I show the clip that I am just showing you a clip from 60 Minutes. I'm not endorsing or non-endorsing anything with conspiracy, but I have to make that clear because some of the stuff you'll hear in the clips, the algorithm, of course, because it's a computer and a robot, and robots are stupid and humans are smarter, it might naturally flag the video and think that I'm talking as if I'm saying crisis, blank, 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 actors and things like that. But take a look at this movement and you'll be shocked to find out who's involved in the movement. You know, some of these kids that we've seen become figures, prominent figures in the movement to get your bang bangs.
More than 1 million people have become followers of a conspiracy theory that birds aren't real. The birds you think you see flying in the sky are actually government surveillance drones. Sound insane? It's meant to. It is thankfully pure satire, intended to mirror some of the absurdity that's taken flight across the country. It's become an outlet for a generation that's been surrounded by conspiracy theories.
Look, here's like a laundry list of things that haven't come true.
You've been lying to us, so we're gonna lie to you back.
Is there any danger of adding to the noise?
We wanna make sure we're not using language that actually harmful and hateful conspiracy theories use to target people. I've been targeted, doxxed, and harassed by QAnon before.
We first met Caskey in 2018 after he survived the horrific shooting at his Parkland, Florida high school.
Welcome to the revolution.
Friends and I were called crisis actors. The internet was telling me that my father and grandfather were child traffickers because they're adoption lawyers.
Look at all these conspiracy theories. They're ridiculous, and we're going to be ridiculous so you understand that this is ridiculous.
That's the idea.
Fighting lunacy with lunacy.
Well, isn't that special? 60 Minutes, which could be airing important content to warn people of dangers that are to come and all the other stuff going on with our food and, stuff like that. Instead, they want to bring attention, of course, to people like me and you, the little people who are already marginalized, who are already been shut off of the internet for the most part. Of course, they try to lump us in with Q, another CIA operation that they created, the government created, so that they could bring about more censorship to the internet. Because Q, that's the purpose that it serves. And as you heard, the little spoiled brats and the whatever that thing was in the middle at the end talk about fighting lunacy with lunacy. And how these kids want to make up crazy conspiracies because they're angry that there's conspiracy theories in general that lie to people. These kids are exactly what the government has created and has wanted to create. They have taken people, molded them, and turned them on people like me and you. People who are just critically thinking. And they've turned us and labeled us as dangerous. Now, why are we dangerous? How are we harmful and harming people? Because we're bringing attention to things like, 5G? Because we're bringing attention to, other things that we can't talk about here on YouTube, of course, where they pretty much wiped us off the internet and forced us to start our own websites and other places where we can have at least somewhat of speech compared to these platforms where they promote, people eating Tide Pods or whatever they were eating, or other crazy crap that they promote, people taking baths and, with barracudas, and they put it in the trending section. That's all fine and dandy. That's not promoting harm. But, people like me who are bringing up some of the stuff in the sky or some of the stuff in the water or some of the, just a lot of things that are there for you to see with your own eyes, it makes us dangerous. So this thing nobody knows about, okay? Let's be real. They show it during an NBA game, somebody in the crowd holding it who's obviously a plant because... Give me a break. And the sign couldn't have been more perfectly drawn. And they censor what signs can be put on the air because they don't want something going up. Pro wrestling does this. All the places you'd see fans with signs. They put signs in there deliberately. All this stuff is on purpose. They're pretending organically this is becoming a movement. No, it's not. No one has ever heard of Birds Can't Fly. No one in the world, until 60 Minutes, of course, comes out and promotes it. And of course, one of the kids from the thing in Florida that happened a few years ago, which I did cover fully, the best I could here on YouTube, which you can't talk about for lots of reasons, and the connection to the FBI and the Hogster and all that stuff. You can't talk about that. And what the end game was, how these kids were empowered and then suddenly telling everyone we're coming for your, the things that you use for self-defense. And, now the kid's just involved in something like this, and he's so talented, it magically, organically got legs. No. You see, organically, channels like this grow, and people want to hear what people like me have to say and see the actual information and use their brains, and then they start evolving and figuring things out. So they make sure they suppress people like us, because if things were organic and naturally occurring, then people like me would not be suppressed and thrown off the internet. People like you who are listening, who have tried yourselves and been thrown off your own Facebook accounts, right? Censored on the internet as well, just from reposting things or sharing your thoughts on things that don't line up with the mainstream media's narrative. So let's look a little bit deeper into this. Of course, they make a big thing about, they're spying on you. That's one of the things they love to throw out there too. We heard that with Billy and the whole outbreak about microchipping and tracking people. Right? They love to throw out there because they're like, the concept that we would want to follow and track people is so crazy and insane. And everyone's like, yeah, what do they care what we're doing? And then they come out and they pretend they're like, Bill Gates is like, I don't know, they think I want to know what they're doing at all times. No, the government does want to know what you're doing at all times. Look at the Patriot Act. Look at other laws and bills that they've passed. Look at what the NSA is really there for. Look at what DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, is really concerned about. Its own citizens. Not the boogeyman they tried to make you afraid of for all that time over in the caves. No. It's the people here who think kind of like China, right? Where people aren't allowed to think or talk against their government. Same thing occurring here in America. And then the CIA comes out with operations like this, where they try to sound, look how crazy we are. We just organically made this thing up about birds not being real. And well, what about us? I feel like I'm being bullied. What about my feelings? What about a call for an uprising's feelings? This isn't fair. This is what they would do, of course, crying, I'm getting bullied and picked on, censor them. No, you know what? I'm okay. I don't need to censor these people. But the simple fact is, if I say what I really feel about these kids, I'll be thrown off the internet. If I say what I really feel, because I'll be the one who gets accused of bullying, even though they're clearly making fun of me and you and anybody else out there that uses their brain. They're pretty much saying you're an idiot, you're dangerous, and it's harmful what you're doing. What we're doing, we're having conversation about the crap that you spew in the media. We're looking at it objectively. We're talking about things like the 5G towers, which scientists themselves, who were supposed to trust the science, right, have come out and said the dangers of the radiation and everything else with it. Oh, boy, that's real dangerous. Oh, we're supposed to just listen, bend over, and take it up the rear from a government who has done nothing but show that it does not care about its own citizens, that it wants to spy on its citizens, that it wants to detain its citizens, that it wants to take away free speech from its citizens, that it wants to de-arm its citizens, and it really pretty much wants to rid itself of its citizens, hence the outbreak. So let's look a little bit deeper here into... as I take a deep breath into this entire ridiculousness that, of course, nobody had heard of until they promoted it on 60 Minutes. So now it can become a thing. And all the dumbed down kids out there who are already stupid, unless they're kids who are listening to channels like mine and many other channels that are better than mine, who speak truth too, who are actually waking up and realizing what they're doing to them. They're creating kids like this. They're building an army of brain dead kids who are defending Big Brother and defending the right to take away free speech and defending the right to de-arm the citizens who are only armed to protect themselves from an out-of-control tyrannical government. Oh, right, but they want to tell you that we're all interested in going to schools and we want to go to the post office and all this other crap when no story, they can't even create a false flag around that narrative because it's so difficult for them to do because, well, they know that people, they can only pull on people's emotional strings by doing these types of events at schools and other places where people feel vulnerable, like concerts, and then they can come and ask everyone to turn things over. Anyway, so there's always been conspiracy theories. The moon landings were fake. Elvis is alive. Paul is dead. But as disinformation has sprouted across the internet, more malicious conspiracy theories have entered our homes. What? Does anyone know of a malicious conspiracy theory? I'm sorry. Questioning the news does not make it malicious, okay? Questioning technology does not make it malicious. It does not make it dangerous, okay? But they're saying more malicious conspiracy theories have entered our homes, workplaces, and even halls of Congress. So they want to tie in their CIA-created insurrection. So you might not be surprised to learn that more than 1 million people have become followers of a conspiracy theory that birds aren't real. That's right. The birds you think you're seeing flying in the sky are actually government surveillance drones. I mean, they can't even be funny. Like, they try to be funny, and they're just so corny. Like the comedians on TV, they're so corny. Real comedians they've killed off or are dead. These people, like, look, we're going to go after them. Oh, we're so funny. Isn't this movement funny? Birds aren't real. The conspiracy theorists are so stupid. They don't believe birds are real. Actually, we do believe birds are real, but we believe that half of the human race is brain dead. Go figure. So they say the birds you think are flying in the sky are actually government surveillance drones. Sound insane? It's meant to. The birds aren't real movement. Thankfully, pure satire intended to mirror some of the absurdity that's taken flight across the country. Is that so? Right? And they have a guy out there with a megaphone. You see a lot of this comedian crap now, even with truth. That everyone's like, oh, it's really insane how on board people have gotten with talking about these subjects, which is what they want, because they want to make people look insane and crazy and not critically think. So they keep throwing crap like this out there with Operation Mockingbird and everything else that they do, which are all made up. You know, the made up news is now making up things like this so they can catch tread and people will start following it. And these dumb kids out there probably will and think they're funny and like, oh, this is so hilarious. Birds aren't real. Oh my gosh. And I can't live without my phone. And I don't know how to wipe my own rear end without Alexa doing it for me. In this stupid society we live in where the same people believe, oh my gosh, the climate, we're not going to be alive in 50 years because Greta Thunberg and Bill Gates tell us the climate, and they cry. I mean, you're just regurgitating stuff, just like all the stuff they say. You ever have a conversation with somebody who's completely just unaware of themselves, and they're like, you be the best you can be. What is that? What? Oh, thank you. I was trying to be the worst me I could be. Thank you for the advice. Or they say stuff they hear celebrities say and they regurgitate. They're on autopilot. They don't even know what they're saying. You're like, what are you talking about? And they're just saying like sayings to say them because their brain is on autopilot. That's what we're living amongst now. We don't have people that are on in a conscious state. They're pretty much subconsciously walking around doing things that they're programmed to do and say. So I could continue on a rant about this. And they say, fortunately, this rally, like most things in Hollywood, is fake. 200 self-described bird truthers are all in on the act. How funny. How funny. And again, how the kid a homeowner? The kid from Park, from the school? He a homeowner? What's he doing for a living? Oh, this? Oh, because people were questioning, the fact that that happened at school and these kids had no tears in their eyes. They're out suddenly on TV promoting going after adults, and adults were ruining the world, and they need to grab their weapon. It's unbelievable if people can't see it. These little DeMolays, that's what they are, DeMolay trolls. Ask them those questions, 60 Minutes. Ask him if he knows what the DeMolay is. Or Job's Daughters, or Rainbow Girls for that creature that was in the middle. Ask them if they know what it is. And let's see what their face is about their fathers being Freemasons and whatever secret societies their parents are in, related to the FBI and other. I mean, they don't ask questions like that, because then you catch them red-handed. Because people are like, well, how would the kid be in on it? How would he? Well, just look it up, the DeMolay. Freemason secret societies groom kids. Boys and girls. Black and white. And then they filter them through the system. And then they become leaders in communities so they can influence other kids. Go figure. Go figure, but we're all crazy lunatics. See, they won't talk about stuff like that because when people learn stuff like that, they suddenly can connect dots because the hardest part for them to grasp is like, how could everybody be in on it? They go, everyone's in on it. Oh, these people are in on it. How are they in on it? Where are they trained? How does it go? Then you just start with the secret societies. And then they go, well, there is a lodge in my town. And then, interesting, I see the mayor of my town going in and out of that building all the time. I didn't know what it was. Well, now you know. And then you go, yeah, but what about these kids? And they're popping up on TV, Greta and all that. Oh, hey. Oh, what's a DeMolay? Can you tell me what Eastern Star is? Oh, yeah, you mean the Eastern Star. That's, they pretend they're affiliated with Christianity. They have the logo of the upside down Baphomet pentagram, the satanic star that you would see. They call it the star, it's pentagram. Yeah, they're witches in your town. They're everywhere, every town. Grooming, pushing towards a new world order. And we're the last line of defense to wake people up to it. And they are so scared and so paranoid that they waste their breath. Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, 60 Minutes, constantly talking about, I'm blushing right now. I can't, please, I'm just a little YouTuber. And of course, I'm not a face of the movement or anything like that. It could have probably been if I wanted to be or if I didn't get censored. I'm just a little peg in this wheel with many great truth channels out there. But I'm blushing. I mean, boy, you guys really are obsessed with me. I appreciate a little space, Maybe I should get a restraining order against 60 Minutes and some of these people. They seem pretty obsessed, just like some other people on YouTube who sometimes get obsessed with me who want to chop off their peepees. Yeah, crazy people. That's right. So there's always a chance that this will get a strike because they don't want anyone talking bad about them or making fun of them, but they openly tell you in this, it's okay to make fun of conspiracy theorists. Right? But it's okay for them to enable insane people and their insane behavior. And even to sit in Congress and try to define what a woman is. That's all sane, normal stuff. Right. Critically thinking. Cuckoo's nest. Right? Like they try to depict the tinfoil hat, but they never come out and talk about why it is that certain people wear tinfoil hat or have these protectors or Faraday bags or anything like that or cages. Why? Oh, right, because you don't want to explain to people because then they go, oh, wait, that kind of makes sense because of the frequency, what you're doing and the, things we can't see in the air. Oh, right, we don't want to bring attention to that. Right. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. That's why you guys have to come over to the website at callfornuprising.com. It's $2.99 a month. It's well worth it. And again, if you can't and you don't want to, please just make sure you're subbed to my backup channel. I would do it right now if you're listening this far into the video because good chance I get a strike. Always is. Because just like this birds aren't real movement, they're trying everything they can, not just to take us down and silence us, but to do whatever they can to grab the minds of other people with ridiculous crap like this, so they automatically hear people like me or you and dismiss what we say without ever listening, because they just automatically will deem conspiracies as insanity, when in fact the only thing insane is the people on TV and the stuff they're pushing. You need evidence of that? I don't know. How about all the stuff that people like me have shown? One day you need a mask, the next day you don't. Back talking, never addressing, oh, well, yesterday that was the rule, this is the rule today.